This is the Rolex Submariner black dial in Oystersteel, 40 millimeters, reference 114060. It is the watch that does not ask for attention, yet it handles anything I throw at it and stays comfortable from morning to night. I think of it as a modern tool watch for people who want one dependable piece they can wear every single day. If you value a clean dial, simple operation, and the kind of durability that lets you stop worrying about your wrist, this fits. It suits anyone who moves between casual and formal settings and wants a watch that feels solid without demanding to be the center of the conversation. The design looks familiar for good reason. The black dial is balanced and straightforward, with large hour markers and bold hands that are easy to read at a glance. The no-date layout gives the face an easy symmetry that never feels busy. The case is 40 millimeters, but the way it hugs the wrist matters more than the number. It sits flat and spreads its weight well, so it feels planted rather than bulky. The lugs are on the wider side compared with older versions, and I noticed that on day one. After a week of wearing it, the shape made sense because it keeps the watch stable and helps it track your wrist as you move. The bracelet is brushed steel with a subtle sheen, and it is one of those parts you stop thinking about because it just works. The clasp has the glide lock system, which I use constantly. When my wrist warms up after a run or even after a long drive, I slide the clasp a few notches and the fit is perfect again. That tiny on-the-fly adjustment changes how often I wear the watch, because I never feel stuck between too tight and too loose. The rotating bezel is ceramic, glossy, and remarkably resistant to the little scuffs that appear on lesser materials. It turns with a crisp, even click, and there is no wobble. I use it all the time to time stretches, pour-overs, and quick parking meters. And because the dial markers and hands use a blue glowing material, I can read it easily in the dark without effort. The glow is steady and calm rather than overly bright, and it lasts through a full night. Setting it up is simple. I unscrew the crown, wind it by hand for a few turns, pull the crown to set the time, then screw it back down. The action is smooth and precise. The crown has a reassuring resistance that reminds me it is sealed properly. There are no extra functions, no date, no trick pushers, and honestly that is part of the charm. With fewer things to fiddle with, it becomes muscle memory. I can set it in seconds and be done. The bracelet adjustment is equally straightforward. Open the clasp, slide to the next notch, click it shut, and move on with the day. Under the dial is an automatic movement that winds itself as I wear it. I never have to think about batteries. If I leave it on the dresser for a day or two, it is still running when I pick it up. If I leave it longer, a few turns of the crown brings it back to life quickly. Timekeeping has been consistently strong. Over weeks of daily wear, mine stayed within a few seconds a day, and more important than the number is the consistency. I can set it on a Sunday night and check it on Friday without noticing drift in normal use. Shock resistance has been a non-issue. It shrugged off the light bumps and taps that come with everyday life, from knocking a door frame to clacking against a desk edge. The water resistance rating is 300 meters, which is far beyond what I need, but it translates to real confidence in the rain, at the pool, and on vacation near salt water. I rinse it after swimming, dry it, and move on. In real use, it disappears until I need it. During a week of travel, I wore it on a red-eye flight, through the airport shuffle, in and out of conference rooms, and to dinner. It never felt out of place. The black dial and steel case work with a t-shirt and jeans, a sweater, or a suit. The case is thick enough to feel sturdy, but it still slides under a shirt cuff without snagging. When I landed in a different time zone, I set it quickly and appreciated the clean dial. At night in a dim hotel room, the blue glow made a quick time check effortless without being a flashlight on my wrist. I tested it in the water on a few swims and a couple of snorkeling sessions. There is no drama here, which is exactly what I want from a diver. The bezel is easy to grip with wet hands. The crown stays locked down and the watch takes the dunk without any change in feel. On the trail during a weekend hike, dust and sweat did not bother it. Back at home, a quick rinse under the tap and a soft towel had it looking the same as before. After gym sessions, I appreciated the glide lock even more. A tiny clasp adjustment kept it comfortable as my wrist warmed up, and then I sized it back down on my way out. One specific use case that sold me on this watch is focused, everyday timing. I time coffee steeping in the morning, pasta in the evening, and short work breaks during the day using nothing more than the bezel. Turn the marker to the minute hand, and I get a clear, silent countdown that does not tug at my attention like a phone screen. It sounds small, but it changes how I use the watch. Another moment that surprised me is how often I check the time in low light. Whether I am leaving a theater or stepping into a dark hallway, the dial is immediately legible. No squinting, no hunting for the hands. The unique features here actually matter. The glide lock clasp is the best daily quality of life feature I have used on any metal bracelet. The ceramic bezel keeps its deep black shine and avoids the gray haze I have seen on older aluminum inserts. The triplock crown system gives a solid, threaded feel that makes screwing it down intuitive, with a clear stop when it is sealed. The overall build, from the solid end links to the milled clasp, feels like a single piece rather than a collection of parts. I also appreciate the no-date choice. Without the magnifier bubble, the dial is cleaner, the crystal reflection is calmer, and I never see the date stuck between numerals at midnight. I used to think I would miss that complication, but living with this layout changed my mind. I do have a few nitpicks. The case shape is chunkier than older versions, especially at the lugs, and on very small wrists it can look wide from certain angles. It wears better than it looks in photos, but the profile is not for everyone. The bracelet will pick up hairline marks over time on the clasp, which is just part of wearing steel, and I accept that as character. Availability can be a patience test. If you want this exact reference, you might need to wait or build a relationship with a dealer. None of those points have affected my enjoyment, but they are worth keeping in mind. If you are deciding whether this could be your only watch, I think it fits that role. It is tough enough for daily life, refined enough for dressier settings, and simple enough that you never have to think about how to use it. If you already collect watches, this is that anchor piece that resets your expectations for how a daily steel sports watch should feel. If you are new to mechanical watches, it is an approachable way to experience a well-built automatic movement without juggling complications. Maintenance is minimal in the short term. Keep the crown sealed, rinse it after salt water, and you are good. Over the long haul, a periodic service keeps it running for decades. So here is my bottom line. The Rolex Submariner black dial in Oystersteel, reference 114060, earns its reputation by being easy to live with. It is comfortable, legible, and reassuringly tough. It does not shout on the wrist, yet it has presence. The design is timeless without feeling old, and the modern materials help it stay that way. If you want a watch that works in almost any setting and rewards daily wear, this is an easy recommendation. If you prefer thinner cases, very vintage proportions, or you cannot live without a date, you might look elsewhere, but for most people who want a dependable, do-it-all mechanical watch, this is the one I would choose. If you found this video helpful, please subscribe to the channel and tell me your thoughts in the comments. Thank you for watching.